interest in imperfect living.
Greetings, folks. I'm Greg Willits from RosaryArmy.com.
And I'm Jennifer Willits, his wife.
I meant to say, sorry. Bienvenue. Mi am Gregorio something. I'm Greg Willits from RosaryArmy.com, and this is a pretty special one for you. Hey, if you are listening to this, and we know most of you do listen to the show rather than watch it on our YouTube channel, this might be the week that you want to switch over and watch it on YouTube, or you can go to RosaryArmy.com and just look forward to the latest episode. But YouTube.com/RosaryArmy is our channel. You can like and subscribe and follow and leave comments and all that. But you're going to want to see some of the stuff that we share with you because, as those of you who are already watching on YouTube, you see that we are not in our normal studio. We're in a very different place.
Right in between us, we have the very beautiful Basilica of the Rosary, and it is
in Lourdes, France.
Built right on top of the Grotto itself. It is quite an impressive bit of architectural feat, in my opinion. And I'm sure that's another story and a tour all by itself. And inside, it is quite breathtaking. There are these, what seems to be almost 20-foot tall mosaic mysteries of the Rosary. So Lily and I hope to actually pray our rosary in there today.
I haven't prayed mine yet either.
So we're probably going to have to do it after Mass because we have been part of a really intense and wonderful itinerary that has been put together by the Our Lady of Lourdes North American Volunteers.
So let's back up. So
so much to say. We just jumped right in.
If you're a regular viewer or listener to the program, you know that way back earlier in this year, we were blessed to have Marlene Watkins on the program to talk about her book, Everyday Miracles of Lourdes. Marlene and her husband Bill, at the end of that conversation, when we stopped rolling for the actual interview, they said, you need to come to Lourdes with us. And it just seemed crazy. And then we shared with you in June our disappointment when we were supposed to come to Lourdes with them for their summer pilgrimage, and Lily's passport didn't arrive. And then suddenly here we are in Rome. We didn't tell you that we were going to be here, partly because I'm so paranoid that I just don't want
I'm so glad you said that.
I don't want
he's paranoid.
I don't want the world to know when our house is empty. So this is actually our last day at Lourdes, and by the time you see this, we'll have been back for a week. But it has been an amazing week, and because of the kindness of Marlene and Bill and the North American Lourdes Volunteers organization, we are here with our daughter Lily, no less. And so throughout the course of this episode, not only will you see us as we are recording this on the 5th floor balcony of the Accueil Hospital de Notre Dame. I think I said that correctly. Yep. If I didn't, it's close enough. This is the hospital bedding facility where we've been staying for the past several days, and where many pilgrims come with hospitality organizations like the North American Lourdes Volunteers. For those who are coming as pilgrims, they are joined by a whole slew of incredibly kind, incredibly hardworking, and generous people who are here to serve. And watching their acts of service has certainly given me a lot to think about this week. But we are here as pilgrims and seeking healing for a lot of the things that we've shared with you before on the show. And did that happen? Well, I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit. But that's kind of it in a nutshell, how we ended up here. As I said, it's Friday right now. We left Atlanta on Sunday, and we arrived sometime on Monday, and Monday is kind of a blur. I remember we arrived, I think we ate dinner, and then we passed out. No, we went to Mass, I think, and then we passed out, and fairly early, and woke up with our time all flip-flopped. We're not the most seasoned international travelers, though we've been to Europe before. It's been well over a decade since our last trip over here, so the jet lag has been something fierce to deal with. But every day, we were kind of wondering, how are we going to go to Lourdes and only be in one place, and is there enough in Lourdes? Once you've gone to the Grotto, is there enough to for us to keep doing things? I think we've gone nonstop, more so than any other pilgrimage or trip that we've done in any other place. I mean, it has been so much to take in, and I don't think that we've even really begun to see everything that's here. Like, for example, you and Lily went into the sanctuary. I haven't even been in the sanctuary yet. We've been here all week, and it's right there. It's right outside where we're staying, and I haven't even been there. So to put, if you have ever come to Lourdes before, to kind of put some geography on it, this particular facility that we're staying at is a part of the overall sanctuary. So when they lock the gates at the evening at 11 o'clock, this is part of the sanctuary. We could actually go out and still continue to walk around. But the grotto is right over here, the main grotto, like right down behind me.
Greg.
And in this video, Lily and I will take you on a walk over there, so you can join us on a walking tour of that. And there'll be some other surprises and things for you to see throughout the course of this. We'll sort of intersperse our talking heads with other things. So again, if you're listening to this and you want to see a little bit more of Lourdes, it'll make more sense.
I just felt the raindrop on me.
Was it the
Either
raindrop?
that or you spitting
Was
at me.
it the raindrop, or did a bird just poop on you?
No.
A French
it felt
bird.
like water.
Was it
But
I think it was
we
a
shall see.
French pigeon
We shall
just
see.
pooped on my wife's arm.
I will have to say, there have been many, many things that have really impressed me about this trip, this group of volunteers that we are now part of in this very beautiful way. They've just embraced us like family. And in the beginning, we really didn't know how we were going to fit in, because we are very able-bodied. You know, we are not wheelchair assistance needed type pilgrims. And so at the same time, they already have a very rigorous group of volunteers who are well trained in what they do, and they've been here many times, and they keep coming back. And so we have been just trying to rest and receive and observe and sort of be open to whatever Mary has for us. And it has been beautiful, and I've been so impressed with just the changes I've seen even in Greg. And you longtime listeners have heard the stories of how Greg has a few issues with people and with traveling and doing socially intense sort of activities, and I was a little concerned that it would be a little too socially intense here, but I have to say, you've been given a grace, and I've witnessed this grace, that he has been very much at a very peaceful state, and it's been beautiful to see, and I have a lot of hope restored that things are possible.
One of the things that I've done this week, though, that has helped, and I do this when I go on trips like this, when I'm around other people, I kind of give myself something that it's like a kind of a polite distraction. So rather than staring at my phone, which is kind of an impolite thing, right? I could be talking to you and be looking at my phone, and it's like, that's kind of it's a safety net for some people. I've been making rosaries all week long, and so that's actually helped me. And by the way, I've got some sprinkles on me too, so it wasn't the French bird, unless the French bird is pooping on me as well. But the making of the all twine knotted rosaries, which is the whole start of Rosary Army, right? So I've been doing that for 21 years. I don't get an opportunity to do it as much as I like to. To have been doing that all week long here in Lourdes, I think I've made over 25 of them over the last few days. We put together, it was about 30 packets that we put together, wasn't it?
Yeah, no more than that.
Yeah.
We didn't really know like what opportunities you'd have, or if you'd even how it was going to work, but you had a system, and it's been really interesting hearing the murmuring off to the side of people saying, well, what is he doing? Or, it just was an odd
I haven't heard
sight.
that.
Well, it was actually Sister Fiat, this beautiful nun from Rome, Italy, who joined this pilgrimage group.
Hi, sister.
Hi, Sister Fiat. We hope you're watching. As we were going on one of our following the footsteps of Saint Bernadette tour, where we were actually able to sort of see where she grew up and see the house she was born in, and then the other home that the family had to move as they were just in the throes of severe poverty. She was commenting to me, Sister Fiat was, that it's an unusual sight to see someone like yourself, meaning tall, big guy, making a rosary while walking around. You don't see people walking around making rosaries. Usually when a rosary is made, think about it, you're usually either sitting down in a room or at a table if it's bead. They need a surface to hold supplies. But the twine rosary is unique in that it is portable and you can travel with it, but you still don't see people walking around and making one. It just sticks out. So you were very noticeable in that regard. And
Didn't even think about that.
She commented on how unusual it is to see that. And I thought, you're right, I hadn't thought of it either, because I'm accustomed to seeing this visual. So it seems very normal to me, but I never stopped to ask the question, does anybody else do that? Do you, dear listener, do you ever walk around with a piece of string and make a rosary as you're going through your city, going through the grocery store? Well, you probably can't, because your hands are always busy. And so we're not often in a place in our life where we are walking around with two very available hands. sadly, one of them holds a phone most of the time. So you can't make a rosary with one hand. So I'm very glad that you made a decision to put one device away and you picked up the twine and you made a rosary.
You know, and again, this is why pilgrimages and why retreats are so good, because they separate you from the world and give you the opportunity to either discover for the first time or be reminded again of the things that are most important. And I very much have thought about, well, I pulled out my phone and I've had my iPad here. You know, I've taken some pictures and some videos, as you'll see later on in this, or I might just intersperse some as we're talking. So we'll just put up footage, you know, that may or may not have anything to do with what we're talking about, just so you see some footage from Lourdes. I've done that, but I've really tried to be cognizant as we're walking around of where we're at. But praying the Rosary, it's been a nice way of, it's not I won't call it a distraction, but it's been a way of focusing my attention. It's sort of like just when I was in high school or middle school, I used to doodle all the time. And I felt many times that doing that helped me to focus on what was being said, because otherwise my mind would be wandering all over the place. So it's interesting. But it's interesting that you said that you've noticed that being around the other people, the Rosary, making the Rosaries has definitely helped me to do that, because it's given me something to focus on versus being so aware of all the distractions.
Yeah, it safeguards your energy.
Yeah, and it's been a lot, you know, but I don't know if being in this place, and obviously part of my prayers have been for healing from sort of the social anxiety that I sometimes have, of the other things that we've talked about on the program, you know, the anxiety and depression and PTSD and all those things, long time dealing with healing from childhood, you know, abuses and that kind of thing. You know, there's so many things we could talk about, but the thing that people are always most curious about with Lourdes are the baths and the healing water of Lourdes, and the story of Saint Bernadette, and how our Blessed Mother appeared to her in 1858 and told her to you know, go clean herself in the spring, which the spring didn't exist. It was a bunch of mud, and she went and she was wiping mud on her hands, and at that spot is where a spring came forward. And you'll see in part of our video, maybe even right now on the screen, you'll see that's the original spot of the spring that sprung forth with water and has continued to run ever since then. And those are the waters that we can be cleaned in. And well, they used to have the baths that people could be fully immersed into these baths, but unfortunately because of COVID, there's been restrictions placed on these things. So the way that they do it now, they call it the experience of water.
Or the gesture of water.
The gesture of water.
Right.
And some people have talked about how they don't really like it. And I get that. I mean,
some people like it.
Well, but
some people don't.
If you had been coming here long before, and your experience was the full immersion, I could totally see how you would not like the gesture of the water.
Boy, that sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah, right?
Sounds like TLM, Nova sort of.
You always go to the TLM, Nova sort of. It's like it always comes down to that for Jennifer. But so we had the experience of the gesture of water. And what that meant was we actually came into the room, and it was Jennifer and I and Lily and a wonderful young woman from Franciscan University named Lauren who joined us.
Who's sleeping off sides there on a bench. The bum, can't believe her.
So come here, we're talking about you real quick.
Lily, come too. You can talk about your experience.
So Lauren is a Franciscan University student. A whole bunch of amazing Franciscan University students have joined us this week. Many nursing students and volunteers. The transportation team has been amazing. And Lauren has sort of been our adopted kid this week. And so here's Lauren from Texas.
Here I am.
And then here's Lily, our daughter, and they've become buddies. But Lauren was there at the baths when we were walking in, and when we walked in, or shortly before we started walking in, I just started sobbing uncontrollably. Now Lauren knows nothing about me or any of my issues. So Lauren, what's going through your head when this tall bald dude is starting to sob uncontrollably?
Well, I thought it was a beautiful moment, because sometimes you never know what goes on inside, or like when you don't know someone that personally just yet. And I personally thought it was a beautiful moment, because I knew Mary was working in mysterious ways to him. But what?
But no, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just like that. I can't. You can never like judge or have. But those were literally my first thoughts. I was like, wow, Mary's doing great things.
What about you,
I was
Lily?
like, this man is crying right now.
When your dad was sobbing, what were you thinking?
That's a really good question.
That's that dad's crying. That tracks.
No, I think I was just thinking like it's finally happening. Like he's he's finally getting this healing. He's been waiting really long.
And the peace.
Yeah, like he's
Yeah.
been waiting a long time for this, and it's finally happening. And so I was just kind of, oh my gosh, what the heck?
That was just a stink bug trying to
I'm
get
just
on your
going to
mouth.
touch this screen
Okay,
because it's
It's still going.
still
we're good.
dimmed.
Oh.
Okay.
I was just thinking like he deserves this. He needs this, and he got it.
I'm actually going to touch you to make sure it's focused on you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when we were all standing there, and we the four of us went in together into the room.
And this is like an enclosed room about, the dimensions, maybe 8 by 10. An 8 by 10 room, and there's privacy, and there are 2 volunteers who would be our assistants. And literally at this moment, you're a little bit like deer in the headlights because you've either heard about this for many, many years, and now the weight of the realization is upon you that you are at the baths of Lourdes, where healings have occurred for, 150 years before you are standing in this room. And it's like it's so incredible and so huge that you need to be told literally how to stand up. Like, stand here, take off your glasses. Okay. So you're like rattled.
Because you're so nerve-wracked.
You're just, it's so big, right? And like, how can you like be fully present, but you want to be, you don't want to waste this moment. You don't know if you'll ever be back.
Like I took off my sport coat. You can still take off anything else.
Yeah, stop.
Stop. I'm like,
And Greg is crying, so he has to be told what to do. And so they said, "Are you married together?" Yes, we're married together. Okay, so they had us face each other, and we're standing at the top of the lip where the bath was.
Should Lauren and I go through the process of what they?
Yeah, you can
Alright.
model it like flight attendant.
And then we can do what actually happened to us.
So you're the Irish woman, Jennifer, who's
Alright.
telling us what to do, and then
I'll describe.
Okay,
Okay.
this could be your Lord's.
Oh no, yes, you're right. She had a picture of the Lord's water ready to go. She's already face each other, and first you're going to clean your hands. So I'm going to pour the water, and you just clean your hands. There you go.
Clean your hands. These people probably think we're insane.
And then I will pour water again, and you're going to wash your face. Okay, here we go. Now wash your face.
And then
Wash your
as we
face.
go wash our face, we go.
Oh, did you really? Did you hit your head?
Yeah,
But then we had Lord's water, so it was all healed.
yeah, so we're all good.
That's
we were
great.
healed. And then we.
Did you really?
pour.
You
Yeah,
voted?
that's why we were
I
laughing.
had no idea that happened
Third pour
because I was sobbing.
of the Lord's water, you are going to drink it. So now, drink the water. Drink the water. There you go. And they're laughing, and they're
Yeah.
smiling, and there's tears
then-
flowing.
And then there's
And
one
then
more
they did one more.
Oh yeah.
Wash each other's hands.
together.
Oh, wash each other's hands.
And just went like this.
Yeah, and it was
Little
so
hand
beautiful.
massage.
They're laughing. They're having a great time.
Yeah,
They're
it
just
was
feeling the
beautiful.
love.
So, I don't even remember who went first. Did you and
You
I?
did.
You,
You
you and I went
Yes,
first.
yes.
Yeah, because
But it was together.
Yeah.
after we sat down and it was their turn, you were like down and crying, and I said, Greg, look up and
Yeah, look at
watch
your daughter.
receive the water. And he was like, oh, and then you started laughing at their joy.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing. It just
It
felt amazing. We knew something wonderful was happening.
And Lauren got to be there with us.
Yeah, I know.
She was part of our family unit
Yeah.
of 4. It was super
It was
great.
a beautiful experience. This family's absolutely amazing. They welcomed me.
Can you say it again closer to the mic?
Yeah. This family's absolutely amazing. They welcomed me into their family for this short week, unfortunately. But like during the baths, it was a beautiful experience, and to watch, especially y'all going together, that was beautiful. And then me and Lily, and just everything. It was all amazing.
So, going in, the big question is, will you be healed of whatever it is that you're seeking healing of? And I don't know what you were praying for, Lauren. Lily, I'm not sure what you were praying for. Do you feel like you were healed of anything? Do you feel like you were given a grace of any clear sense during the bath?
Well, in one of the, like what you're pulling up right now, the prayer, it was to purify one's heart, which I thought was interesting. So after I washed my face, I asked the Lord, purify my heart through the intercession of Blessed Virgin Mother Mary. And I did feel like a cleansing, and I wasn't praying for any physical healness, thankfully, but I offered it up for other people. So, but other than that, I did feel like a complete wipe. It was like a baptism. It was just a baptism. It was just a complete fresh start. So I was just happier.
Yeah. And what about you, Lily?
So for me, I didn't like pray for anything like for me personally, really. So I didn't feel like much, like any like less pain of anything. So hopefully when I get back home, I'll notice like other people will be healed. But I did feel. Oh, I did feel. I feel like it's gonna be too tall. Okay, I do feel though. Afterwards, it's kind of like the Holy Spirit like tickled me in a way. Like I felt like I just felt with so much joy, and I just felt like I can kind of describe it as like a cloud of just happiness kind of came over me.
That's cool.
Cloud of happiness.
Yeah. The happiness cloud.
Quote Lily. Yeah, happy clouds.
What about you, Jennifer?
Well, I'll share this one because I think I got the best visual of this. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you for your participation. As I was facing you at that moment, and you're right, the sobs were really doing its own thing. And
it was uncontrollable. And
Yeah.
I had to tell myself, just let it happen.
Yeah.
Because my tendency
to
when I start crying is I start to freak out a little bit.
Right.
And so I just
I
knew because it started. I mean, again, I don't know if I said that clearly. It's like it started about 2 or 3 minutes before we walked in. We're just sitting there, and then out of nowhere, I wasn't even thinking about anything. I just started sobbing, and it was an uncontrollable sob. I don't even remember the last time I cried that hard. And at first it was sort of like, I'm shaking and the tears, and I thought I could stifle. I didn't think it was anything, and then it just kept building and building and building, and I realized I am not going to be able to stop this. And I was aware that we were facing a lot of people from where we were sitting, and so that was kind of embarrassing. But I was like, what am I going to do?
Right,
There's
there's
nothing
nothing you can do. But as I was watching him go through this, you see his face right now. You see the color of his skin is just normal, flesh-colored face, right? At that moment, as the water was being poured in our hands and we're rubbing in our face, the skin, the complexion was reddish purple everywhere, except where there was hair. I mean, his skin was so red and purple that I thought his head was going to explode. Like, it was just so red. Like, so much blood had rushed up to the surface. And at one point I was like, what do I do if something happens? I mean, I literally was a little concerned. Like, I'd never seen your face quite that red.
Oh, how great of a place would that have been to have a heart attack and die?
I mean,
receive the Lord's water and just die right there. That would have just been awesome.
But at the same time, I also felt at peace that God is in control of everything. And I had a couple of personal physical ailments that I had submitted in prayer, and I said, listen, Mary, if you would like to intercede and have this healed, I would welcome it, but I'm also okay if the suffering is just good for me. I have that really awful pain in my right toe, and I have the spine in my neck is very, very straight. So, a normal healthy neck curvature, there's supposed to be a curvature of the neck. That's a healthy neck with the right kind of pressure and all that. Mine is very, very straight, which leaves it subject to a compression that will cause me more pain in my future. And so I'm very aware of that. It's really what prevents me from playing a violin or a cello, which are instruments I've longed to play once again. And I just can't even think about making that kind of music because I can't endure the pain of playing the instrument. So it would be lovely if I could be healed of those physical things. But again, I'm absolutely 100% okay if feeling the pain helps me, or I can somehow offer it up for the reparation of sinners. I'm good with that. So to me, it's a win-win situation. Either way, I'm going to try to be the best slave of Mary as I can, because I'm really trying to live my consecration to Jesus through Mary every single day. And so this has felt in many ways like a homecoming. It has felt easy to be here. Very normal. Like, I don't really comprehend that I'm so far from home. I feel like I'm just like a couple hours from home, and that it didn't just take almost 24 hours to get here. And that surprises me. It's like, wow, it's just like all the problems, there's just no problems here. It's just, everything is just joyful, and you're just living inside of a grace. I felt like I'm living inside of a rosary. I don't even know how else to explain that. I'm like in it. I'm submerged in it. And so it feels good to be here. And but I know it'll be good to come home, so that maybe we can bring some of this back to our lands. You know, everybody lives in a different part of the world, and it'd be nice to bring some of this joy back to our families and friends back home.
And while we didn't put out a public call for prayer requests to the broad world, we did ask for friends if they have prayer requests. And for those of you who are members of schoolofmary.com, and we have a prayer request section on there, please know we've offered up all of those prayers. As a matter of fact, we had Mass yesterday morning at the Grotto, before, right in the spot where Mary appeared to Saint Bernadette, and we had written down all of the prayer intentions that people had asked us to pray for, and we specifically put down all of you Rosary Army supporters, listeners, watchers,
yep, me too.
all of those of you who support the work of School of Mary and are members of School of Mary and have asked for our prayer requests. We put all that there, and so your prayer intentions were offered up yesterday at the Mass at the Grotto, and so please know that you were prayed for, and we've been praying for you throughout the course of this week. We've gone to Mass every single day. I had the blessing of a kind of a really unexpected experience. I can't even remember which day it was. I think it was the first full day that we were here. There's an underground international basilica located here that seats about 25,000 people.
Well, just think about that.
Yeah, 25,000 people.
Underground facility large enough to hold 25,000 people. It is quite an engineering feat to know that had to be dug out of the earth, and that it could hold that many people. And thankfully it wasn't flooded and underwater. We have heard stories of how that basilica had to be shut, closed off to the public, as the river that runs right next to the basilica will occasionally flood out and really make things difficult for the pilgrims. But thankfully it was water free, and we could all process in there and enjoy an international Mass.
And I was asked to be the lector for the first reading at this Mass, which was very much a last minute thing. I was asked just like an hour or two before the Mass itself. And as a matter of fact, we found it on YouTube, and if I can remember, I'll try to insert maybe even that reading, that moment right here in this video. A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, you are God's building. According to the grace of God given to me, like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, and another is building upon it. But each one must be careful how he builds upon it. For no one can lay a foundation other than the one that is there, namely, Jesus Christ. Do you not know that you are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person. For the temple of God, which you are, is holy. The word of the Lord. But it was really strange to do it, and a lot of people had really nice things to say afterwards. And it's been so long since I did anything like that that it caught me off guard. Although that's one thing I've prayed a lot about this week, and I had a conversation with Bill Watkins, the husband of Marlene Watkins, the founder of North American Lourdes Volunteers. And Bill and I had a lot of great conversations this week. I really enjoyed getting to know Bill better. And he challenged me in all the best ways about, people were so kind in their words about the job I did lecturing. And I have this tendency of immediately negating any complimentary things people say to me. And I push it away, and I would say it makes me uncomfortable. And I took that with me to the baths, even that challenge of like, okay, wait a minute now, maybe Bill's on to something here, because does God give us gifts or not? If God gives us gifts, do we not have the responsibility to use them? And I will. If I'm asked to do something like that, I'll do it. But what I was trying to explain to Bill, and I didn't do a very good job, and I still don't think I do a good job explaining it, is like this, because of the fine line balance, we know that we're supposed to be humble, right? I want to be humble. And it's so easy for the ego to get into it. And so it's part of why I don't like marketing, and I don't like, chasing after the views and downloads and whatever, is that because I don't want it to be about us, but at the same time, God wants to use us to bring other people to Him. And so it's just making sure that there's that maintenance, that fine line. And I think that self-deprecating humor is good to a certain extent, but self-deprecation, really, if God loves us as much as he loves us, he probably wouldn't like us to be so negating of ourselves when we try to push away the ways that God's trying to use us. And so I mean, these are things I've really been struggling with this week. I'm not saying I have the answers to this by any stretch of the imagination, but that lecturing here in Lourdes, that was a huge blessing and honor, and I immediately afterwards wanted to negate when people were saying nice things to me about it. And Bill totally called me out on it, and I actually really appreciated him calling me out on it.
You have to receive.
Yeah, he challenged. He really challenged me in all the best
right.
ways, and it's one of the things that resonated with me the most. And if anything, I'm walking away from Lourdes going, I quit doing. I haven't been open to doing many speaking engagements since before COVID. I've kind of liked the quietness of it, but maybe that's not what God wants of me. So I need to be more yes oriented versus no oriented. And I think God has respected my no orientation. I haven't been saying, if this is where you want to send me, God, I'll do it. I think he knows in my heart that I've been saying, no, I'm going to pull back. And so he's been respecting that, but I need to be more open to that, and that's one of the things I'm taking away from this.
One of the fruits of being here is getting to know the pilgrims who have also traveled long and far distances to be here. And we get to hear throughout the week, there's moments where they could share a little bit of their story and a little bit of how this trip is affecting them. And I've noticed this recurring theme from several of the pilgrims here and or volunteers, all in their prayer life, regularly appealing to the Blessed Mother, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And so I have prayed those prayers, but I haven't mentioned that to anybody that's what I'm praying. So it was really weird hearing other people at that same point in their life appealing to the Blessed Mother, and they're ready to jump in and go to work wherever she wants to send them. And so it was really nice hearing, it was affirming actually hearing other pilgrims here and other volunteers appealing the Blessed Mother for that same request, this willingness to serve. And being here has allowed me plenty of time to sort of reflect on my own life, how I see what's my role to play. I mean, we all like feeling like we've got a role. Oh, and by the way, now that the bells are interrupting, it is just a lovely thing to hear church bells. That's something we don't hear at home.
It's really cool.
We never hear them at home, so it really just sort of slingshots us back in time. And I love how old this country is.
But then you're slung back to modern time when at 4 o'clock in the morning, the maintenance staff will be using the
weed whacker.
The leaf blower, clearing off the pathways at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, okay, all right, we're in Lourdes.
And so it's been wonderful and meditative, and I know I'm going to be unpacking this trip for months to come as I'm going to remember a conversation, remember a face of a pilgrim that I had the pleasure of talking to. There's just so much richness and beauty here, and it's this city of Lourdes is in constant state of song. I mean, there's sacraments that are constantly happening. There's a mass being celebrated somewhere just about every hour. There's music to the Blessed Mother always being lifted up to her. Rosaries are always being prayed. I mean, this place is in constant motion.
And we have mass that we have to get to in less than half an hour.
Yeah, to honor the Blessed Mother. And it is beautiful. I mean, especially not just because we're Catholic, but because we're founders of Rosary Army. And it feels really, really good to finally be at such a Marian focused city. And it just feels great. It feels like a match. It's so wonderful. And, you've had the great honor of being to two places, Our Lady of Guadalupe at Mexico City, and now Lourdes, France. And so I hope that, Our Lady of Champions, all right, Jenny, we are going to try to really make that trip happen. So that Our Lady of Champion has come up on the radar again. So, and that's in the States, so we really should be a lot easier to coordinate that travel to get up there and spend a few days at that site as well. And we are just, it feels just peaceful. Yeah. This whole trip has been about gratitude. So grateful that we have been able to, been gifted with the opportunity to be guardians of Rosary Army.
So now we'd like to give you a little bit more of a view of Lourdes, and our daughter Lily and I will take you on a trip over to the Grotto. So we are going to go for a bit of a walk and take you with us as we go and explore Lourdes. Lourdes. Whoop. Missing people. Pardon. So we are leaving the hospital where we've been staying for the last few days. Shall we go over to the bookstore or should we walk over to the grotto?
Grotto.
You want to go to the grotto? Yeah. So that takes us.
Is this the bridge with the fish?
The bridge with the fish, which I'm not gonna mess with the video. At least I don't think I will. Maybe I will.
Depends on how you feel.
There's a bridge over here that we can see trout. Which is a better angle. That's a better angle. There's trout.
Can I just go like, what's up, guys? Welcome to our video.
Is that the way the Utes do it these days? well overboard. So Lily got to come with us to Lourdes, the first Willits kid to Europe, and
Haha, take that, Walter.
so Walter gets to come over in a couple of weeks for his job. But yes, she beat all 4 of her brothers in coming to Lourdes. So
Walter
let's do
beat me
this.
with
Let's do this.
Canada,
Let's swirl around so people can see the cathedral directly behind us. And well, we're heading over to the grotto, and because there's times where people are praying, sometimes we have to be a little quiet.
Yeah,
Is the fish down there? Can you see the fish? Do a fish check.
Fish check. Where am I looking?
So the fish is a lot of times hanging out right in that area. I don't see him.
No.
He's not there.
I mean, like I've seen the fish before.
He's not there right now.
Aw,
All right, come on.
that's so sad.
So Lily, tell me your impressions of our time in Lourdes so far.
It's really, really beautiful. We did the gesture of water today.
And what is that?
The gesture of water is pretty much, it's like the baths, but you don't get to like go in the baths anymore.
Right.
So you get 3 handfuls of water. First handful you wash your hands. So the second handful you wash your face, and the third one you drink it. And then technically you kind of get 4 because for the 4th one you like wash whoever you're with's hands as well, like to wash it together. So it's like a legitimate bonding experience right there. So
What was that like for you, going into the baths and knowing what you know about it?
I was actually like shaking. Like I was cold before, but this wasn't like cold shaking. Like I was like violent. I was like shaking. And so I don't know if I was like on a Holy Spirit, just like
Yeah. So we're walking up. I mean, this is how close we are to where we're staying, to the grotto.
We have to be a little quiet.
And so I am going to get a little quieter now. And I don't know if there's a rosary going on right now.
People might just be praying.
And what we could probably actually do, I haven't gone into the tunnel. We could probably do that.
You'd have to take your little contraption here.
I'll swing the camera around instead, and we won't go quite so big, but I want to go over here. Okay.
Yeah, and you can just take the phone.
So right here to my right is the river, and then we're going to spin around, and you're going to see where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to Saint Bernadette Soubirous in 1858, and it's a pretty amazing place. I think where is it? There we go.
It'd be a shame if your phone were to fall off.
Yeah, well, it would be a shame. So I'm going to spin it around here. So hopefully you enjoy this virtual trip to Lourdes, and we have to tell you, to go check out the website of the North American Volunteers. Their website is it on the badge? It's got to be on the badge.
I think LourdesVolunteers.org.
I want to make sure. Oh, we'll put it up on the bottom there, but I believe it is LourdesVolunteers.org.
Just look at that.
But they do something that I'm really interested in. Now that we've been here and we understand that you may not be able to come to Lourdes, but they offer something called a virtual workshop, and it's not virtual as in on your computer.
It's virtual pilgrimage.
Sorry. We do virtual workshops.
Yes.
They do virtual pilgrimages. A virtual pilgrimage, and that doesn't mean it's just on the computer. It means they will come to your parish, they will come to your school, and they will present what it's like to be on a pilgrimage. They have actual rocks from the grotto that they've been given permission to bring to you for you to have that experience.
To touch the rock.
To touch the rock, to be able to experience Lourdes water in your parish. And so if you're a priest or anyone who would be interested in this, go check out LourdesVolunteers.org. As you can hear, other pilgrims are making their way to the 5th floor balcony. So with that, we want to wish you an adieu. An adieu? Do we just say adieu? No. How do you say?
Can we just say?
How do we say? Au revoir. That's it. Au revoir.
revoir.
Au revoir from France. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you need a rosary, please go over and check out rosaryarmy.com. Join schoolofmary.com. We'd love to have you as part of our learning platform and amazing community that's quickly growing over there. And we're just so glad that we were able to bring you along on our first pilgrimage to Lourdes, and we certainly pray that it won't be our last. Thank you once again to Marlene and Bill and to North American Lourdes Volunteers for making this possible for us, and for so many people who've been blessed throughout the years from their organization. So go pray your rosary every single day.
Do whatever it takes to be holy.
God bless you, folks.
Ave Maria, piena di grazia, il Signore è con te.